Hello and good morning, everyone. I, Dr. Shweta Sinha, extend a very warm welcome to all the participants to the fifth day of the Faculty Development Program on recent advancement, innovations, future trends, and emerging technologies and their impact on higher education. We are extremely privileged to have amongst us our honorable guest, Professor Manju Khari from Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi. Welcome to the session, ma'am. Today, we are into the last day of this faculty development program, and these past days have been filled with illuminating sessions and engaging discussions to make our learning experience truly unforgettable. Further, to embrace the pursuit of knowledge and to expand the boundaries of our understanding, today we have our experts to apprise us about the challenges and issues in Internet of Things security. I take the pleasure to introduce our esteemed guest to the participants. Dr. Manju Khari is an esteemed professor in the School of Computer and Systems Sciences at Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. She is a leading expert renowned for her exceptional academic achievements and significant contributions to information security, software security testing, computer networks, the Internet of Things, cyber forensics, and deep learning. Her prolific research portfolio includes over 100 plus published papers in premier refereed national and international journals and conferences from publishers of high repute such as IEEE, ACM, Springer, IndoScience, and elsewhere. Dr. Khari has also co-authored 2 books published by NCERT and co-edited 10 books. Ma'am is widely recognized for her intellectual leadership and has organized several academic activities during her illustrious career. She has delivered expert talks and served as guest lecturer at prestigious international conferences and has been a part of technical program committee for various international conferences. Dr. Khari's reputation as a rigorous and meticulous scholar has earned her positions as associate editor for journals published by reputed publishers like Springer, Valley, and elsewhere. Professor Khare is also a highly valued member and research consultant of several noteworthy projects in collaboration with prominent institutions such as AIMS, the Department of Biotechnology, DST, and CSIR NPL under the Ministry of Consumer and Legal Affairs in India. These projects are invaluable to advancing research and development in her field, further underscoring her reputation as a trailblazer in computer science and engineering. Her contributions to the field have been significant, and her unwavering commitment to excellence has made her a role model for aspiring scholars and researchers. Now, it is my pleasure to invite Professor Manju Khari ma'am to apprise us about the challenges and issues in Internet of Things security. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks a lot, and thanks for the nice description about me. Thank you. Thank you for the MIT University as well as to you, Shweta ma'am, to call me to just discuss some issues and challenges which we are doing in the research. And I'll share my experience, my domain, my knowledge, so that it may be helpful for your future work. So let me share my slides. Let me know, ma'am, if the slides are visible. Hopefully the slides are visible.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Thank you so much. So as far as my session is concerned, it completely revolve around Internet of Things, and because we all individuals are, we all are surrounded with so many things near us, and the things which is identifiable or which are not identifiable by the IP address, they all comes under things. So because we are surrounded with things, we are in an unsafe world. And what are the challenges which we are facing in research? What are the challenges are existing that we will discuss in this session? And as far as the outliner of my session is concerned, I'm going to discuss about the things, what exactly the evolution, although we all know the evolution, but still just to recall you what exactly the evolution is, because internet is not a one-day job. It comes from some core and it is extending like anything. Then the versions of IoT, although we all are aware about the versions, but still, what exactly the version which we all have seen and which are there in uh, in our day-to-day activities, the version I'm gonna discuss. Then what are the key elements, because that is just a basic part. But if we aware about the key elements, then only we leads to the research and the challenging part. Then the technological and the social aspects of IoT, because the things which are surrounded by you or which are in near you, they are related to technology as well as the social environment which we have. Then the architecture, the basic core architecture, because it leads you to the research side. Then while we are part of IoT, how we collect it, how we communicate it, and how we control those devices. Then the major core part, there is issues and challenges. Then as far as applications are concerned, we all know what applications are, but still, just to give you a glimpse of application that is there in the slides, in upcoming slides. So as far as things are concerned, things is it may be anything. It may be like whatever device is near you, that is thing which is anywhere, anything, anytime, or anyways, or anyhow it is near you, or it is a part of technology too. Because while be a part of things, we should aware about it, like the things which are easily identifiable. I mean, like, you can identify the things with the help of internet, with the help of communication. You can communicate with that device. That device is the thing. And things are not like which we can discover, which we cannot discover, or we can fetch the things from outside of it. They are also things. So as far as the technological things are concerned, we have phones, we have watches, we have thermostat, cars, and so many sensors around us. So all these things are actually a part of thing which we are talking about in my session, that we are discussing in my session. So things are basically which are surrounded you. And if you look into the internet, like where the Internet of Things was born, although we know about internet, it actually, this is the evolution of internet. It comes while we all aware about ARPANET, we all know about communication. The labs were set all over the world, and labs try to communicate between them. Once they are communicating, they establish a communication, and after that communication, that comes into. Can anyone tell me that when the internet comes into the market, anyone, like so many participants are there, I think they are 20 plus. Can anyone tell me when the internet comes into the market in a standard form? One. All right, then I'll explain. The internet was there in research from 1960, or we can say before that. But at that time, the researchers are working on it. They establish a lab, and after establishing a lab, they just explore everything. And after exploring, they establish a connection, and that connection was established between the lab with the wired communication. After that wired communication, they start researching, they work on it, and after that small communication, www comes into the market. But that was not publicized. That was publicized after 19, we can say 80, after 80 around. We have www in the market at that time. That was standard way of communication through internet. And after internet, now we are in G's, like 1G, 2G, 3G, and 4G and 5G. So that G is enhancing. The technology of internet is enhancing day by day. And that is a part of internet because it helps us to communicate over the internet, over the world, over with the help of LAN, WAN, and MAN. But the communication is becoming more secure, more technological, and more enhanced. That is because of G's, because we are leading towards G. Then as far as this internet is concerned, we have Wi-Fi's, we have Bluetooth for communication, and we have so many things to communicate, because now we are communicating with a small node also. Like the small node can sense surroundings, and then it captured it and then send the data to the user whomsoever wanted. So we all have, in fact, we all have cameras at our home, and the cameras which are at our home, they are basically just to share the things, whatever is happening at the home. My slides are visible, I guess.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So as far as the sensors are concerned, they are just capturing the things, and after capturing, they capture everything out of it, and they send to the outside world, or we are connected to it, like the camera which is there at our home, they basically
Ma'am,
is
I think your slide is not
not
visible
visible.
and now that it has stopped, I think, and you are also not visible.
Hey, I'm slow. Let me try it again. Some admit things are coming. Maybe I clicked on something. Now,
Puneet,
no.
Puneet ji,
Just give me a second so that I close it and open it again. Now, is it visible?
Yes.
yes.
Great. Do let me know. I think there is some glitch. Maybe because of internet connection or maybe something else. So as far as the things are concerned, the things which are connected and the internet evolution is concerned, once we have ARPANET, then after 83, the www comes into the picture, and it was standardized in 1991. Once we have www, it went public. The communication is more faster, and as far as 2000 is concerned, we have broadbands, dial-up for faster communication. Then we have Wi-Fi's, cables, better cables for communication. And if we talk about today's world, it was like, my slides are visible. As far as the today's world is concerned, we are in the world of things which are connected together, which can communicate. The things can communicate, we can communicate with the things that is there in the actual domain. As far as the standard definition of Internet of Things is concerned, that was defined in 1998 by Kevin Eston, and he says the Internet of Things has a potential to change the world, and it is like, and it may be more. And as far as IEEE definition is concerned, the standard definition which is given by IEEE, that says the Internet of Things have a caliber to change the world, and or it maybe they have a potential to change, but the definition of Internet of Things is kept changing because it changed according to the organization, it changed according to the environment, according to, like, we are in a smart world, and the smart world have uh, its own definition. So as far as the specific definitions are concerned, they are changing day by day, and this is also the major concern because we are changing the definition of Internet of Things. But the things, this definition was defined in 1998, and after that ITU changed that definition, that was standardized in 2005 itself, because things can communicate, they are connected with the world, and they are uniquely addressable. That uniquely addressable means we have IP addresses, and those IP addresses can communicate. They can send the data from one node to another node, and those unique address can specify a particular thing. So this is in terms of definition. And if we talk about specifically of a definition of Internet of Things, it include any context, which context means the sensor which you depute in a form of context or in a form of term to capture something. It may be anybody which having a wearable or which having a sensor kind of capability. It may be any service or any business, any network, anywhere or any device, that they all are included in Internet of Things. And this definition specifies itself because things which are surrounded you, they are discoverable, they have their unique address, and those unique address is in a web world. So it defines Internet of Things. And this is just a glimpse of, like, I searched about Internet of Things on Google Trend, and it shows that Internet of Things is a trending term which is in research, which is in academia, which is with industry itself, because so many companies and organizations are working on Internet of Things just to make more secure, just to be aware, or like because everyone is working on it. I just googled, this is Google Trend, and I just googled three terms like Internet of Things. More or less they are related to each other: ubiquitous computing and wireless network. But as far as this graph shows, Internet of Things is leading nowadays, because the things which are connected to you, which are connected to the device, and they are connected to internet, They have some issues also. They have some pros and cons. We have pros and cons. So this slide actually represents the trending term, which is there in research as well as in academics. So we all know, like, the things which is identifiable is comes into Internet of Thing. What is that? Like, we all aware about the tags we have. Like, if we go to the past 7 to 10 years, we have tags, we have RFID tags, we have core codes in a product which we purchase or any item which we purchase, that is scanned by a device, and in that particular QR code have a information of that particular product, and that product actually symbolize the Internet of Things, because we also have that technology at that time that we can identify that product, but that is in a tag form. After that, slowly, gradually, Arduino and Raspberry Pi comes into the picture, and these Arduino and Raspberry Pi are the embedded devices, or we can say embedded circuits. They have microprocessor into it, and we just code accordingly what we want. Like, we connect a sensor with Arduino, and that Arduino is that is microprocessor in it, that is programmed accordingly, and we can fetch the information from the sensor which is connected to Arduino. So these are the devices which are in this IoT world. Then because of Arduinos, because of tags, because of QR, or because of sensing capability, we have machines. We all know about smart cards and flips. Then we are leading towards environment like smart building and smart cities. But there is an issue. A computational power and complexity is an issue. It is increasing day by day. Although we are an IoT world, although we are connected with the devices, but the computational power which we are using with the devices, the computational things which we are using with the devices, and the complexity which is there with the devices, with the knowledge, with the complexity is increasing day by day. So IoT is not this traditional term which we are using from like, we are in this world for in past 5 years. We go to the switch, we switch it on, and then we get connected. But now this world is almost gone. It is a world of connecting with buttons, with just a click. And this world says that we have number of applications to get connected, we have number of devices to get connected, and we have number of protocols also. Like, once we establish a sensor in one environment, we decide some protocol to communicate, and while communicating, we need some protocol to get connected with this node to the device or the application. So as far as Internet of Things is concerned, it includes number of applications, it includes number of protocols, and it includes number of buttons. A click, we can see. And we while doing the research, the one terms also comes into the picture, that is Web of Things. Although there is not a huge difference between Internet of Things and Web of Things, but as far as researchers are concerned, they find out the difference, and that is a very thin line difference, but still the difference is always a difference. So Internet of Things is basically a communication between the two devices, but Web of Things is, we are in the web world, but if that particular communication is controlled on the web with some controller or with some controller device, that is Web of Things. So from Internet of Things, it leads towards Web of Things. That specifies so many researchers, they specify in their research. And as far as versions of Internet of Things is concerned, it was like we have number of versions. Like, I'm talking about the QR code and the barcodes which are there. That is Internet of Things version 1, just to identify the things which are there as a product, which are there in front of you. That is version 1. And for that, we all aware, like, we just go to the market, we have products, and those products have some barcode. That is basically identifying that particular thing, that particular device which is in front of you. That is version 1. And because we are in the technological world, the version 2 is connecting with the smart thing. Like, our embedded chips are connected with some with some sensors, or with some electric bulb, or with the refrigerator, or with the AC, that is connecting those things with smartly, or connecting with a smart thing, that comes under IoT version 2. And if we talk about the latest version, it comes with the protocol, with the specific protocol, because we are surrounded with the sensor world, and this sensor have some protocol like HTTP, we have URIs, we have browsers to get connected. So that is not like just a connection, but now we are identifying the things. While identifying, we are communicating, not a one-way communication, that is a two-way communication. And after communication, we set some protocols, and those protocols actually decide a standard of communication. So we are in a world with standard protocol communication in Internet of Things. And once working in Internet of Things, for connecting the devices with some human values, like we include device connection, because a device which are surrounded by you, they need some connection into it, they need connectivity, and that will be possible with the help of embedded devices, with the help of microprocessor, and with the help of so many things. So that is just to communicate with the device is the major requirement. Then sensing a device, like we have sensors, and once the sensor is deployed at some place, they sense the surroundings, they capture the data from that, and after sensing, they send data to the server or to the user who is required and whomsoever is deployed that. And the storage is also an issue which comes in a picture. Like while sensing the data, whatever is captured, that should be stored at some specific place or database or drive or anywhere. Then after sensing, the communication is important, because sensor have to have that capability to communicate, and we require that communication sometime without wire, sometime with wire. So at that time, it like networks comes into the picture, the edges comes into the picture, the cables comes into the picture. That is also a part of Internet of Things communication or connection. Then we have analysis. Once we collect the data from the sensor side, after collection, we need to analyze, because whatever data is collected by the sensor is always not useful. It may be raw, and whatever data, raw data is collected by the sensor, that data should be analyzed for some specific purposes. Like if I deploy a sensor in an agriculture field, then that is used for the agriculture analysis or for moisture analysis. That can be done with the help of AI, or we can say with the help of analysis technique, with the help of learning technique, we come up with some predictions. So that is also a part of analysis, data analysis, which is somewhere related to Internet of Things. Then the data value is also required, because whatever data you are capturing, sometimes it may be useful, it may not be useful, but the action which is taken on the basis of that data is in an intelligent form or in an useful form, that is to be considered. Like data, we should value the data which we are capturing from the sensor side. Then the major role is human value, like whatever sensor we are deploying, whatever data we are collecting, that should be useful for the society, to the society, and we consider the value of human also. Like it should be beneficial for the society, then only we can at least value of the sensors which we deploy. Then if we talk about the web and Internet of Things, there is a difference of protocols or of the communication, because as far as web is concerned, it is a complete web where we have LAN, WAN, and complete things. Internet is for communication. And if we let me show you one slide. That slide actually gives you a difference, major difference between web of thing and Internet of Things. This shows a difference between web of thing, because we have number of protocols with us, we have number of devices with us, and if the devices are there, those devices are controlled by some control center, that is web of things. So there is only a one line difference of web and internet. Like once the all devices are connected over the internet, or with the help of protocols, with the help of applications, that is Internet of Thing. And once all these devices are controlled by one control center, that is web of thing. So that is the only difference between web of things and the Internet of Things. So but the protocols were there, the standard things which we use in research were there. So if we can look into the Internet of Things, it include so many issues in there, and those issues are for large network itself, like because the devices are moving from one source to another, or we have to fit in with in a kind of centralized thing. We required security to those devices. We required a distributed information data which is captured. We required some ledger while collecting the data. We required something to analyze the data. So the edge, the fog, the network, the cloud, AI, that all include that all are associated with Internet of Things. And as far as the common elements which are related to Internet of Things, these are the common elements which are related to Internet of Things. That is, major thing is connectivity, because we have sensors around us, but sensors, if the sensors are around you, but if they are not connected, they are not useful, then it it is not a part of Internet of Things. That may, although they are a part of thing, once they are deployed and they are used for something, they are, but the connectivity is required. Like in Internet of Things world, we required connectivity, because without connectivity, that communication would not happen. Then the major element which is required, the thing, because we have to ensure that whatever thing is there, thing means a device or a sensor or anything that can be identifiable. If it is not identifiable, then it is not of use. Like the pen which is there on the table, and if it is not connected with you with the help of unique address, then it is not used. That is a manual work which we can do with the help of pen. So the things which is connected, which is discoverable, that comes into the elements of IoT. Then this data, or the things which are identifiable, they can communicate with the help of data. They can just sense it and send you some information, that is data. So data is one of the key elements of IoT. Then communication, because connectivity doesn't mean a communication. Connectivity means we discover that particular item or that particular thing, but communication means sending and receiving the things. That is communication. So that is also one of the element of IoT. Then we required for analysis, while collecting the data, we required some analysis on it, and that can be done on the basis of data which we collected through the sensor. We apply some action, we apply some intelligence. Let me give you an example of it. Like you have a AC at your home, and if you want to switch it off, then what you will do? Like you apply some action on it, action on button of an application, and that action is completely depends on your. This is a small work, so intelligence is not required. But sometimes we have so many data and we required some action to implement on it, to stop connecting, or to stop getting some noise, or use some intelligence and come up with some prediction. So the intelligence is also one of the key element of IoT. Then automation. Once we perform some action, that is not possible without automation. So to automate the complete procedure is required. And ecosystem is just to make us environment safe and friendly and less secure, because I can't say absolutely secure, because we are an internet world and it can be hackable. So just to make it secure and to make it what we can say just useful for the society, that is an element of IoT, just to make a system useful for the society in terms of ecosystem. So these are the common element, and if we look into the definition of IoT, include these characteristics into it, like connectivity, devices, information which we collect, the data, or communication, intelligence, action, and ecosystem. Although they are element, but they actually define characteristics of IoT in whole. So these are 7 characteristics which define IoT. And as far as this slide is concerned, why I include this slide? Because it represents the economy reality. Because we all are building the IoT, we are in a version of IoT, and we are in a place to connect with the world. But we are not looking to the digital transformation which we are doing. The digital transformation which is connecting a world in terms of business, in terms of ecosystem, or what strategy they are following. So that is the thing. This is basically a flux which actually shows you while building or while evolving through IoT, while be a part of IoT, we are just ignoring this digital transformation communication, or with how it affect the economy and so many things. So as far as the definition is concerned, hopefully I clear the definition of IoT. But the definition of IoT includes some characteristic into it, and because we this is just an hypothetical world, and we think about it that the IP, the discoverable things are a part of IoT, but not like that. The device which is connected with your phone, with your smartphone, or with anything, but they are discoverable, or they are discovered over the internet comes into it. Like this is actually a virtual answer of Internet of Things, because the Internet of Things have potential to collect or to connect the devices which have their IP addresses. And it may be anything like your device, your gateway, your software, your system. It include the wearable technology. It include your home automation. It include healthcare, fitness, and so many things like your vehicles, and which are identifiable, which have IP addresses. But things, if they are not identifiable or they don't have the IP addresses, but they are also included in this IoT world because they have codes, they have RFIDs, they have something to sense and capture the information out of it. So they are also included in it. This actually represent where we required in terms of industry and government application, the infrastructure, the monitoring, the energy which we are using, the security and the agriculture part of things. So this is basically just to give you an virtual answer of IoT, that this is the reason we call it, we are in Internet of Things world. So as far as Internet of Things evolving reality is concerned, the industry's body, the industrial bodies are updating Internet of Things definition every day, because they change it according to their problems, according to their definition, according to their concern. And the market is evolving to changing the view of definition in terms of research, academics also. But they shifted, like, because Internet of Things, basically initially the things which are discoverable. Then because the things are communicating, so they comes into the picture. Because they are communicating, that is why we are in that world, unsecured world. Just to secure them, just to make beneficial for the society, we are rigorously working on it. So that is evolving reality. And because this evolving reality sometimes leads us to an unsecured world, but that is a part of like we have pros and cons for everything. So this Internet of Things have some technological and social aspects as well. Social aspects in terms of like impact, or we can say impact on the users, impact on the society. And because we are used to of it, of this world, because we don't want to go and switch on and off the switch all the time. We want a button, while sitting at the same place we can manage so many things. That is in terms of accessibility. So it gives an impact on social life also. And as far as the business is concerned, the ecosystem is concerned, we are changing the value, we are changing the ecosystem, because we apply Internet of Things in the application domain, in so many application domain, just to make a environment comfortable. Then as far as services and applications are concerned, because we are in an application domain, we required some services just like smart cities, smart cars, and something like that. They comes under services and application. As far as software is concerned, because each and every device is connected with something, and they required to operate it, to control it, or to manage the data, comes under software architectures. Then embedding technology, that is a part of your microsystem, microprocessor, management of energy, power consumption, and the sensors. So all these things comes under in the technological as well as in the social aspects. But the thing which we usually not cover directly into it, and they are management and the security and privacy. Management is required because the technology and the social aspects should be managed accordingly with the benefit of the users or the environment. And the security and privacy is also a concern, because we all want our devices to be secured. It cannot be hacked by the other person or an individual, so that we will be an unsafe world. We just make it secured, but sometimes some flaws may happen and it is not secured. But this technological and social aspects were represented by IEEE in, I think, in 2002 or somewhere. So this is one of the definition which is given by IEEE, and they define it in terms of technology and social aspects, but they have some things which are not directly related, but they are related to these aspects. They are security and management. Then these are the technical part, but I'm talking about sensors, I'm talking about communication, I'm talking about things which we are identifiable. But if we look into the basic aspect, how we collect data, this is something which actually gives you a glimmer of how we collect data, because we have sensors around us, and those sensors having a capability to sense, and it is like we can collect data from the environment in three terms: in physical, chemical, and biological term, and we fit some microcontroller into it. Those microcontroller having a capability to control the system. We just program microcontroller according to our like microprocessor were programmed. They have some memory into it. They have hardware. Those are basically external devices, and those external devices may be sensors and the receivers, and they just fit in into the sensor node. These are the basic feature of sensor node. We just fit it, and we can collect the data with the help of sensors. And while collecting the hardware things which are required, the communication devices and the power sources, because if the sensors are not getting power sources, they will not work for long. So this just gives you an idea of, we have antenna which can collect, like a sensor is of a small device, but still they have these features into it, like they have microcontroller into it, they have power just to plug it on, and antenna which can sense the environment, and then it is sent to the light. This is a procedure, or we can say the hardware architecture of a sensor to collect the data from a particular environment. So we have number of sensors in a market, and those sensors are like, we have sensor for moisture control, we have sensor to detect the flow of water, we have sensor for humidity, we have number of sensors in market. Just go to the market, you come to know about number of sensors. Those sensors are planned to sense our environment and gives you some data, and with the help of some applications we can control that. How we communicate with the sensor? With the help of number of protocols. Because if we talk about LAN, WAN, and MAN or PAN, we have a specific range which defines a communication between LAN, WAN, and MAN. And in that particular range, we decide some set of protocols to communicate. We have Bluetooth, we have Zigbee, we have Wi-Fi's to communicate. So this slides actually represent number of protocols for communication between the networks. So after collecting, we required protocols to be set to communicate. Then this is a field deployment example, which actually gives you an idea of it. Like once we have sensor, we'll deploy that sensor in an environment, and after deploying that particular sensor, connecting to the internet, we sense the data where we deployed that particular sensor, and that data is sent over the network at the network level to the server or to the device or to the storage site where we can store that data. And how we control them? We control them with the help of services, with the help of applications. Like we have number of services. Once we collect the data from the agricultural field, we store that data, and after that we apply some intelligence, or we can apply something to analyze that data and give the prediction of moisture or of a land is required for agriculture, and what minerals they require to have a good farming. So that is a kind of analysis, is a part of services. And these services actually help us out to control, to communicate, and the fetch data from the initial, like from the sensor side. And after that, we can use it accordingly, apply some action and intelligence with the help of services, and come up with some predictions. So that is services. But while communicating, we required a stack of protocol. Like it doesn't mean like every sensor can communicate on the basis of every protocol. No, we have to design a stack, protocol stack. That protocol stack is basically a rule which we decide for communication, because protocol are set of rules which we decide for communication. So as far as the TCP and TCP, IP, and OSI is concerned, as far as in terms of academics, in terms of book, this I captured from on net, or maybe from some research article. It gives you an idea of like we have some standard of protocol which is to be set for communication, and on the basis of that we decide a stack, we decide a list of protocols to communicate according to the sensors or the services. But if we talk about the communication between two nodes, because nodes are sensors are too small for that communication, we required MQTT protocol, and this protocol is basically designed by IBM in I think 2004, I guess. And this protocol is basically a lightweight protocol, because while communicating between the sensors, it is required that protocol should be lightweight. Why lightweight? Because it helps us to communicate the data from one source to another source easily. So that data is designed by the protocol is designed by IBM, and they follow this pattern. They pick the data and send to the required sources wherever it is required. So this is basically an broader architecture, because number of researchers has proposed number of architectures on IoT, but this is the basic architecture which include these four levels into it. And these four levels are, the first level is, if whatever things we have, just we have to make them access. That is the first level. Then the next level is, if that particular thing is accessible, then it can be discoverable. If we can access, then other can also discover and find that particular item or the thing. Then the thing having a capability to share, for that we have some protocols of it, and after sharing it can compose the thing, or we can apply some intelligence onto it, and that can be send it back to the thing. So this is a basic architecture of IoT. If you look into the research, then we have number of architectures in the research, and these architectures are redefined according to the usage, the power, the battery, or in terms of protocol, in terms of principle, and we have number of parameters on which these architectures are enhanced. But the basic architecture which we follow for Internet of Things is this. They have these specific four layers to just build an Internet of Things world. Then because we want our things to be connected on web, so for that we required web APIs for the things, and that we have 5 steps to be taken care of it. Like we have integration strategy, just to integrate with the web. We have resource designing, just to organize something so that that particular device is get connected with the services. Then how to represent that particular resource and decide the representation to be served to each resources. Then interface is also required, because because interface like for communication from source to destination, it is required, because while interfacing, it is like just to give in command and get the services done is a major requirement. Then linking of things is also required in each and every resources. But we are talking about Internet of Things world. We are talking about the sensors, the connectivity, the communication with the help of protocol. Still we face so many problems while be a part of Internet of Things, and this is one of the challenge which we face. The challenge is, if a thing which is actually there deployed somewhere and it is already installed, now how we find that particular device? If it is identifiable, then it is fine. If it is not identifiable, then what will we do? So these are some root problems, or we can say these are some problems which we are facing while finding the IoT devices. Like we need to know about the URL, how we can access that particular device. We need to know the syntax, what exactly syntax we can type so that we can fetch that particular device or find that device. And we need to know the way they communicate, what range they required, what exactly the code they required to find out that device. So these are the challenges which we face. And because we are an IoT world and we use something to be controlled, something to be to perform some actions, and to link with that particular sensor. So this is basically an learning model resources, which actually helps in terms of model to discover a thing. They actually have some buttons, or we can say accessible switches to perform some actions. Then we have a ledger also, just to define a property of the device which is connected, and we have some control system also to control the devices. As far as our social world is concerned, this social world also have some issues, like because our devices have so many applications into it, and those applications are connected, or we can say they are related to other applications. They are connected to other applications. So once we access one application, that particular application can access other applications also. So the sharing of thing at the social media is also have an issue, but we discussed in the issues and challenges. But this is a scenario which we use for sharing the things while to be on the social internet things. And securing a thing is a major problem. Like the device which is discoverable by the authentic person, that is fine. If it is discovered by an unauthentic person, then it will be a problem. Like securing of thing is also a major issue, or we can say a problem. The first problem is web encryption. Then the next problem is to certifying that particular session, or we can say the particular communication is secured. Then the next issue is authorization, just to authorize an authentic person. Securing of thing is also some way and major issue. So these are the few issues which we face while identifying our devices, while communicating with the devices, or being in the IoT world. But as far as broader issues and challenges are concerned, this is also one of the issues. Like we all have routers at our home, but the routers are, once they installed, we never bothered about to change that password. So this password issue is also one of the issues, because while deploying any hardware or while deploying any sensor into a particular site, we hardly bother to change the password of that particular site. It may be hacked by any other person. It may be manipulated by other hacker, whomsoever want to target you. So that password, default password, is major issue which we face with IoT, Internet of Things. Then the lack of firmware update. And this is like once we program our microprocessor according to our requirement, we hardly bother about to update that particular hardware. And although if we can look into the today's market, we have very few firmware updates, because once they program it, they just leave it accordingly, because they don't want to change or update the firmware, because once they update, it may cost them high. So the updation, the lack of updation is also one of the issue. Then web security is not designed as per IoT security, because the assumption is like servers are not moving. But although we have to make them secured, we make the servers to have a secure communication. We make our browsers to be secure. We make our devices to be secure. So the myth which is there that servers are not moving, that is a myth. But the web security is not designed as per that concept of IoT, because they were designed far way before. And now we are leading with the small sensors. So that is also one of the issue. Then we have impersonating, like a person can discover you as an individual and just pretending that particular person is an authentic person. So that impersonating is also an issue. Like you discover one device and maybe that is a trap, and you discovered that device and the device is like a honeypot for you. That is a trap, and you lead into the trap. That impersonating is also an issue which comes with the Internet of Things. Then tampering is also one of the issue. Like anyone can send some spy into your sensor, and whatever things you are sensing, that is to be manipulated and send it you back. So that issue also comes while working on Internet of Things. Then unauthorized access is also an issue. Like you have data, you have sensor at server, and unauthorized person can access that data, or they can manipulate, they can use that data for their personal purposes or something else. Like that may be a data breach. But the unauthorized access is also one of the issue in Internet of Things. Then we have eavesdropping, like monitoring a particular traffic. Like you deploy a sensor or you deploy a camera at your home, and someone else is monitoring the communication between you and camera. And after monitoring, they can use that monitoring things for their, like if an hacker come to know that you are not home from last one day, they can use to come at your place and go for any unauthentic work just after monitoring the network which is traveling between you and your camera. So that is eavesdropping. Then we have denial of service attack is also there. Like we want to access one server, and attacker can block that server with other communication so that the authentic person cannot access that server. That is denial of service, and this denial of service is also happened in IoT devices. Then as far as application is concerned, it was like we have number of applications in IoT, and because we are in this IoT world, so that is like you all are familiar about smart environment, because we want to make our environment, our home, to be smart, to be intelligent, to access everything easily at our home. Healthcare system, we want everything to be automated. We want jackets which can identify our issues in our body, or we need something like just to monitor you and prescribe you something. So this is also one of the domain of IoT. Then transport is also one of the domain, because we want our light to be automated and they work automatically. But as far as the domains, as far as applications are concerned, if we look into the vision around the globe, is like companies are playing their role, because they have their own concept, they have their own ideas. These are the leading companies, or we can say the key player of the market. They are coming with the new product, with the concept of IoT, with the concept of things, and this is basically an outcome of the key players which they comes with the product, with the name of product. Like we have smart home hub, which can actually manage your house, which can actually manage your rooms, cars, and everything while sitting at the same place. This is one of the example, or the outcome of the key players is like sense a sleep should. It actually sense your sleep and advise you something. Like this is a part of research which I captured from the research article, but they are in a form of product. Then we have earthquake sensor and warning alarm, which actually alarmed you before the earthquake came. It having a good impact also. But as these are in terms of product, but if we talk about in terms of research, then these are the major challenges which are there in research. Because as far as research is concerned, we, while working in Internet of Things world, we talked about the massive scaling, and this massive scaling is like we have number of things which are around us, and they are connected with the web over the internet. And while they are connecting, they require some scaling is like we have to balance the data which we are capturing, and whatever we are communicating, and whatever, because after that we have to take action on it. So that scaling is required while collecting the data from the things, while collecting the information from the things, and to take some action or to go for analysis. That scaling is also one of the challenge, because each and every sensor have their own set of data. Just to scale them, to work on them is one of the major challenge as far as academic is concerned. Then architecture and the dependency is also concerned, because each and every researcher have their own architecture to work with IoT. That architecture is to be standardized. The dependency, how to control them, how to connect them, how to communicate with them is also is a part of architecture actually. And that is to be managed. Like, because if we are working in transport, then it may be the control may be different, the communication may be different, the protocol, the set of protocols may be different, but the architecture may be the same. And if you're working in healthcare system, maybe the architecture change. So that depends on the problem which we are focusing, that depends on the domain which we are focusing, or whatever the application is. So that architecture and dependency is also one of the challenge, because we can work according to the application and domain in terms of architecture and dependency. Then creating a knowledge and big data. Like we have raw data which we collect from sensor, and that raw data is how to make that raw data useful. How, because after deploying a sensor, we are just creating a big data, and that big data is how much big we don't know, but that data should be in a usable form. That is to be taken in a consideration. That raw data, how we make that raw data in terms of information or in knowledge, that is to be considered. And this is also one of the challenge, like just creating a knowledge of it, just creating that data, how to analyze or manage that data is a big issue. So as far as academic research challenges are concerned, this is also one of the concern which we can work upon. Then robustness is also required. Like we have so many things around us, and those things are, sometimes it may be static, sometimes it may be dynamic, and we require that thing to be maintained, that thing to be useful. For that, we required so many things: accessibility, energy consumption, or we can say power management, that is to be managed. To make it robust, it is also a big challenge in IoT security. Then we require the communication should be secure. The communication between the sensors should be private. And for that, we need to design some framework so that the whatever the node are sharing, whatever the node and device is sharing, should be secured in terms of policies, in terms of frameworks, or in terms of some guideline. So that because we all know that the cyber laws comes into India in 2000. So we need those laws to enhance in terms of internet security, because those laws may be filtered out, or those laws may be frame it according to the private policies, or we can say privacy policies, just to make individuals secure. Then we also in research we also need to secure our device or our smartphones, or the sensors, so that it cannot be accessible or it cannot be vulnerable with for attacks, or because that is also included into it. So in academics, we require these many things. We consider these challenges as research, because each and every point have its own domain of work. Like we can expand it and we can work in terms of challenges as far as academic is concerned. So these are the references which actually help me out to prepare all these slides. That's it from my side. If there is any question, then please let me know.
Thank you, ma'am. So I'll just go with the question. So, Manju ma'am, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I don't know I'm visible or not, but yeah, I'm here.
Uh, so there is one question from Mr. Sandeep Mukherjee, and he would like to know which database is used for IoT in MySQL and is supported for IoT, and or Oracle is used for it.
This is a very big question, because you are merging these two fields together. Although we required a database, and it was like we need whatever data is coming from the sensor, it is required to be saved. We can save it on cloud. We can after that, just to make it intelligent and to make use of that, we have to create our own database. And for that, and MySQL is just to fetch the data from the data which is saved on the drive. So this is something like we usually save the data on cloud, and then according to our requirement, we use that data intelligently as per requirements.
Thank you, ma'am. I hope Mr. Sandeep has got his answer. And so he's asking, so data set of the sensors are stored in MATLAB?
See, if MATLAB having a capability to store the data, then it is fine. But usually the data set have their own size, and the sensors. If you're talking about the real life data, then it means like data which is deployed. They just stored the data on web, and then we can fetch the data from that side. So specific data set, if you're talking about, we have number of data which is available on web. We can use it as an input of our MATLAB, and then we can implement. So if you talk about real-time system, we have number of applications which can fetch data at the real time, that is on cloud, and they gives you response also. I think that is thin link or something like that.
Thank you, ma'am. And okay, so he's writing thank you. And like, ma'am, one question that I would like to ask, like when we are saying that authenticity and security through IoT, so how can we make this connectivity or interaction of IoT a secure interaction?
To be very honest, it depends on individual to individual. Like we give accessibility to the applications to access other applications. That is our choice. We least bothered about it, like anyone bothered about it, to go on terms and condition and check whether they are in favor of us or not. So just to make our device secure, the major things which we can do is our device cannot be identifiable easily. If your device is not identifiable, then at least you can prevent somehow from the other attacks. So authorization, authentication is majorly required. And we for authentication, we required sometime we use three-way authentication kind of thing. That is also. So this is actually a responsibility of an individual just to make himself secure. After that, the world will be secured for sure.
Thank you, ma'am. And I think there is no more question in the chat. And there is one more thing, ma'am, like when we are using devices like this IoT-based devices in our houses, so does our house like it becomes vulnerable to attacks from the neighbors and all those things?
Yes, it is vulnerable. But what we can do is when we are setting up or installing that particular device at our home, we make sure that after a month or 6 months, at least we can change the password so that it is not identifiable by your neighbors also. Because we have number of tools in the market which can identify the device and they can hack the device. Although the password is too long.
Voice is breaking now.
What is?
I didn't hear what you said in the last sentence.
Because we have number of tools in the market, they can fetch your password, they can crack your password with the help of brute force. So for that, what we can do is we can change our password frequently, and if we can change our password frequently, then it is helpful for an individual. How IoT and ubiquitous are relating. Although ubiquitous always talked about wireless communication, and IoT is also wireless, but in IoT we have small sensors and small devices into it. But in ubiquitous, we cannot communicate with the small sensors and devices. They are related because communication plays a major role in both. Communication is there, wireless communication is there, ubiquitous, IoT, wireless computing, they all are together. But they have a difference into it. Like IoT deals with the things which are connected, which are identifiable, which are monitorable, and which have their own communication. Ubiquitous deals with the big communication devices.
So I hope Dr. Mishra has received his answer. And thank you so much for taking this question answer session now.
My pleasure.
So thank you so much for your splendid talk on elements of IoT. And it was very comprehensive presentation that demonstrated the basics from things extending from the technological and social aspects of these smart things, starting with the basics of those things. And I'm sure our participants had got the opportunity to explore new possibilities that can lead to innovations. And thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out time and being here in such a short.
Thank you so much. There is one more question. Any alternative of MATLAB? Yes, we have alternatives. We have analysis tools which can sense the data. They kept on cloud and they gives you an analysis in terms of parameter. MATLAB is not the only solution which gives you the graphs and the analysis. We have number of more tools. We have TensorFlow. Give us just you find out the data, and once you provide the input to the TensorFlow, it gives you in analysis in terms of deep learning. We can associate machine learning also for the analysis purpose.
Okay, thank you. So there is again one question. Any standard regulatory framework for IoT?
No, there is no standard framework because we design frameworks and architecture according to the application domain. In which application you are working, you can design its own framework. Like as far as research is concerned, each and every methodology is different. That same like framework is this difference, but the architecture, the basic architecture is required. That the basic architecture is to identify the thing, sense the thing, communication is possible. Yes, obviously, Panther, like Python is based on TensorFlow. You need to know about Python, as well as TensorFlow gives you an interface, and you can easily use TensorFlow and add on the layers. Adding a layer means adding some objective into it, and yeah, that is compatible.
Okay, so I hope the participants, there is no more question what I can see in the chat. Okay, so thank you so much, ma'am, for your presence here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, yeah. Thank you. Okay, have a nice day. Should I leave?
Okay, ma'am, sure.
Thank you.
कैमरा बंद करो किसको. So the next talk of the session is about recent and future trends in cybersecurity and digital transformation. The delivery will be done by two speakers, Dr. Khushbu Tripathi and Dr. Abhishek Jain. And I take the pleasure to introduce both of the speakers one by one. Dr. Khushbu Tripathi received her PhD degree in computer science from University of Allahabad, Prayagraj. She has more than 15 years of experience in teaching and research. Dr. Tripathi area of interest includes research and implementation aspects of wireless ad hoc networks, managed and sensor networks, secure routing protocol, SDN, and advanced networking, security, and data interpretation. Ma'am has more than 40 papers published in peer-reviewed international journals and conference proceedings to her credit. She has served as session chair and organizer for IEEE Springer conferences, etc. Currently, she is working as associate professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Amity University, Haryana. Ma'am has filed 5 patents, among them one is granted. She has earned many awards in her credit as a Young Researcher Award by INSC Bangalore, India, Swami Vivekanand Changemaker Award by MentorX globally. Dr. Tripathi is a member of ACM, IEEE, IET UK, and Computer Societies. Recently, she has edited a book, The Concept of Artificial Intelligence as its Application in Modern Healthcare System by CRC Taylor and Francis Brooks. Welcome to the session, Dr. Khushbu.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shweta.
Now, the second speaker, Dr. Abhishek Jain, is a highly accomplished enterprise solution architect, pre-sales with over 14 years of experience in delivering successful digitization and transformation solutions initiatives across diverse industries, including banking and finance, telecommunication, aviation, and E&E. Throughout his career, he has had the privilege of holding senior positions with renowned global brands like Wipro, IBM, Ernst & Young, Ozas, and Nokia. Dr. Jan holds a PhD degree in engineering and has more than 10 research papers to his credit. His dedication to innovation extends to inventing an advanced algorithm for securing data from cryptanalysis, resulting in a patented solution. He has also been honored as a keynote speaker in numerous national and international webinars and speaking events, sharing his insights and knowledge with audiences worldwide. He has obtained several architecture certifications of advanced level that has positioned him as one of the leading enterprise architects skilled at solving intricate problems. Welcome to the session, Dr. Abhishek.
Thank you, Shweta.
Now I request Dr. Khushbu to deliver a remark on recent and future trends in cybersecurity and digital transformation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shweta. Thank you for inviting me here for delivering my talk. So now I'm sharing my screen with you all. Hello, Dr. Abhishek.
Hello, ma'am.
Is my PPT visible to all of you? Ma'am, is it visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Is it in slideshow mode now?
Yes.
Thank you. So, hello all the participants. Today I am going to deliver a talk on cybersecurity and digital transformation. Myself and Dr. Abhishek will be taking together this session. And let's make the session interactive so that we can also have some interaction with you all and get some queries and having some fruitful discussion over here. So if I ask you, like, what do you know about cybersecurity, or how many of you are aware with the cybersecurity? So can I get the answer? Do you know about the cybersecurity? Yes or no? How many of you know this word, cybersecurity? Can I get some answer, yes or no, from the participants? Jyoti is saying yes, Saeed is saying yes. They are aware with the cybersecurity term. Right. Sandeep is also saying yes. What about digital transformation in this era? How many of you are saying yes, that you are aware with the digital transformation in the cybersecurity? Anyone? Anyone? Maybe it is, belong to the marketization and market field. So you can say from the industry point of view, many of us as a faculty are not aware about the digital transformation or what is happening in the cybersecurity in the current market. We are not aware. So let's start with the cybersecurity concept, as we have already listened many speakers from the last sessions, and they briefed about the cybersecurity concepts. So one question coming to my mind, I don't know whether you are getting it or not. Do you know that there is a difference between the network and cybersecurity? Which one is the subset of other? Either network security is a subset of cybersecurity, or cybersecurity is a subset of network security. Anyone? Cybersecurity is a network security or not? I'm writing here, cybersecurity is a network security concept or not? How many of you are saying yes? If you are aware, the term network security and cybersecurity. Sandeep is writing here, network security is a subset of cybersecurity. Okay. Poonam is supporting the answer that network security is a subset of cybersecurity. Is there anyone who is saying opposite to that sentence, that cybersecurity is a subset of network security? Anyone from the participant? Cybersecurity is a subset of network security. Is it possible? Is it correct sentence or not? Yes or no? Please write in the chat box so that I can also get some answer from you. Everybody is talking today in the word cybersecurity term. So we are actually aware with these small little terminologies which we are using in day-to-day life, whether the network security, whether the information security, whether the cybersecurity. So Jyoti is writing here, network and cybersecurity are related, but distinct fields within the broader realm of information technology and digital security. So she is actually relating the each term with this definition that yes, they are complementary, but somehow they are same at some extent. No one is answering more. What is network security and what is cybersecurity? Okay, so let's start. According to the understanding of the concept of cybersecurity and network security, some people used to say that network security is a broader term because cyber came later. When we have network, then we are talking about the crimes, we are talking about its security, and then we talk about the cyber security as an information security. But actually, now we are seeing that many networks are affected by the cyber crimes. So we can say the whole world is affected by the globally by cyber crimes. So cyber security taking as a globally, network security comes into a subset part. So Sandeep, I think you got my answer. What I wanted to say, that network security and cyber security are two terms, but we need to understand what is in the current era. We are relating the term with each other, whether network or cyber. So let's go ahead with the next slide and start with the term and the agenda of the presentation today. We are going to tell about the concept of cybersecurity, challenges in today's era, then the threat landscape in the cybersecurity, what is the digital transformation, and what are the strategies related to it, and cyber forensic, which is definitely a next branch to the cyber security, and the case studies will be covered in this presentation. So many of you are aware with the term cybersecurity, right? So what is basically the cybersecurity? Why you need cybersecurity? So everyone knows that we are dealing with the different types of malicious activities in our day-to-day life. And we want to protect ourselves from these networks, from these malicious activities. So what do we need? We need security. Security is such a wider and important term. Without that, we cannot achieve the cybersecurity. So cybersecurity refers to the processes and practices designed to check the networks, activities, programs, and data from attack, damages, or unauthorized accesses. So here you can see that in the past 7 years on cybersecurity, most 1 trillion has been spent over that, and with 90%, 95% of success has been achieved by the attackers. So attackers are so active that they are getting lots of data which is generated in millisecond, nanosecond, microsecond every time. And still the attackers are, very effective, and they are doing the security breach. So 46% say that they can't prevent attackers from breaking into internal networks each time which is being attempted. And 100% of CIOs of organizations and different companies believe a breach will occur through a successful phishing attack in the next 12 months. So here you can see that some enterprises level, they have also checked that what is the 26% of security increase in security incidents despite of the increase of budgets, which is handling by 9% year of year. So the market says that still the breaches are too much, and we need the security from all these different types of malicious activities and aspects. Is my slide moving? Ma'am, can you confirm, please? Dr. Abhishek, can you see my next slide here?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Thank you. So when we talk about the attacks, what comes in our mind? The threat, the vulnerabilities, and the risk associated with these. So when we talk about what is attack, we always think that there can be the passive attack, there can be the active attack. Passive attack, which cannot actually do the exploitation to your system, to your things, but it affects somehow in a mean. But the active attacks, which totally destroy or exploit your system. So here are the terms which are really interested to think that threat is nothing but it's a potential cause of an incident that may result in harm to your organization, to the system. And vulnerability, some weakness in your asset or a group of assets that can be exploited anywhere in the form of more threats. Risk can be a totally loss or the damage or the destruction of some assets which can exploit the vulnerability. So here is an example, like in a layman, we can say that vulnerability is like if we are giving password to our system, if we are providing some password and it is not very strong password, that nowadays everybody knows that we want to save our data and we want to protect our thing, our system by giving the strong password where we can use the special characters, the special symbols, the special things which no one can understand in the code word like cryptographic, and writing the secret way. So that is, if not strong, we say that the system is vulnerable. Our password is weak. And the threat is that where the intruder can exploit the password, can check the weakness in the system and can do some harm in the system. Risk are always telling when you are sending some data, but it is not the original data and looks like original data. It is replicated or modified or altered during the time when the third party was also interrupting the sessions and the sender and receiver were not actually getting the original data. So risks are associated with the modifying, damaging, or you can say the replay of the messages or some illegal means which are going to affect your system. So intruders are doing all these things. So meaning by when you are having the actual definition of threats, vulnerabilities, and risk, you can understand how much the system is going to be affected by these quantities, attributes, and we need security from all these small little things, which are very important. So who are the enemy? Who want to affect your system? The offenders are crackers, mostly the teenagers, we can say, because they are so much active in the social media and other platform. They want to do it maybe for the fun. They want to do it for getting some input from that data, or we can say that they are so highly energetic and active that they want to do something in their life by cracking something. So they always, become, intentionally or non-intentionally becomes an enemy of our cyber world. So information systems criminals are also, espionage and fraud abuse people, those who are having the rights to get some data and they are, misusing that data. They are like criminals, and they are criminals in the terms of they are just only collecting the information and replaying these message or information in different ways. So some company can also do the same thing, some person can do that thing, or nowadays robots are very intelligent. If something has been used for the destructive purpose, they can also become a part of the criminal AI criminals. So vendors are authorized users and strangers who can seen be like as an anger. If somebody is, having too much anger in their life and they cannot, spell somewhere else, maybe they can use something which will be destructive in the near future, or to the organization, to the person, so that they are also enemy to that world. So basically what we are looking here in these slides, that who are the enemies, what are the threats from which we need the cyber security. So what is the motive of cyber criminal? There, as I told you already, anger is one of them. Power assurance to restore the criminal self-confidence, like as cyber stalking. Power assertive to restores the criminal self-confidence. Moderate to high aggression means if anybody has, too much aggressive behavior and they cannot control the victim and they are going to destruct anything, they will look for the power assertive type of things. And yes, sadistic people can also give the pain and suffering to the others. Profit oriented people are also there who, become a criminal to that platform, because they want some materialistic things which are important for them to exploit the system. So these are the motives of the criminals basically. And there are many more. Among them, I have just selected few. So when we talk about the damage, the destruction which is happening in the system, it can be in many ways, like interruption. If somebody has destroyed or not provided you the specific services which are really required, maybe in the web services, then we can say there has been some damage. So interruption is like not providing you the actual services which you need. It can be something else which can destroy your main program, main system, or many things which are in the form of processes. Interception is the other part of damage, which means that unauthorized party snooping or getting access to our resources. Then we talk about the modification and fabrication. We can see that damage is also a part of like active type of attacks, where the party is modifying a resource, where the party is fake giving some fake data, or they are interrupting the resources which are actually needed. So these are the types of damages which also affect, the cyber world. So if I ask you like, what are the, database security threats? So how many of you are aware with this database security threats? Do you know about the database security threats? If there is web security or database security or information security, what are the possible threats which you can see? So here I have listed a few of them, like if I talk about excessive privilege abuse, that is a top threat which has been seen in the last recent years, and legitimate the privilege abuse, privilege elevation, where the low user has some right to do the security breach, but they are not actually involved, but it is showing like they are fully involved in this crime. Database platform vulnerabilities and SQL injection. If we have some data and we need to check where the intruder is interrupting in this, so SQL injection is one of the way to get into the threads. Weak audit trail. If like many organizations are hiring the employees basically for this particular post to just do the audit of the data which is coming to the port of a system or the network. They are just regularly checking what are the threats which are coming through the weak ports or the weak processes, and it can be checked, under that process. So these are like denial of service, one of the popular attack, DDoS attack, which affects the cyber world. So here are few database security threats which I have mentioned, like database communication protocol vulnerabilities. Many, the communications are based on the protocol, but yes, if the protocol which is written in the program, of course, and there are some vulnerabilities or the malicious codes which has been associated with this protocol interrupt your process, your communication, which you are showing here. So weak authentication is also one of the popular threat where one can audit and check the process, that which mechanism has been used for the authentication purpose, whether it is fully secured or not. Then they can also see that if the authentication is proper, it's okay. Otherwise, it will be counted as a threat. So backup data exposure is one of the another form of threat where the intruder can interrupt and check the data and have restore the data for the specific purpose, which can be maybe exploitation or destroy. So all these are top database security threats, which I have listed. Many more are there. Few of them I have just mentioned, which are being seen in the recent, connections. I'm not able to get on the slide. Yeah, I think it's visible now. So what are the top web threats? When we are talking about the threats, there are three terms which are coming in our mind, like network security threats, cyber security threats, web-related threats, or information security-related threats. So as I have shown you in the previous slide, it was related to your database security threats. Here I have listed web threats. What are the web threats? Of course, DDoS is one of the threat which we are, looking in day-to-day life. Like recently you have, seen and maybe you have read in news that Killnet is a group which played active role in the Russia and Ukraine war. And they had made a group for just doing the victim and hacking the things, getting the useful data for unwanted purpose. So DDoS attack and brute force attack, these two attacks were very, active at that time in the war of the Russia and Ukraine. So really, it's a web threat which is very challenging, and still the researchers are doing research in this attack. So old browser vulnerable plugin. If we are not updated with the browsers, we are not using the proper vulnerable plugins and cookies, it can be the cause of web threats also. Then there are many others like good sites hosting bad content, mobile apps and the unsecured web, failing to clean up bad input, creating the hazards of digital certificates, and cross-site scripting, which is very popular. Attackers are going after a banking site, the cross-site scripting vulnerability, and they can, log in the box and they can check the bank's page and steal the data and their credentials. So cross-site scripting problem can be seen, now in many of the application areas, not only in the banking, in e-commerce, for other purposes also, and it is one of the web threat. Then insecure Internet of Things, as we know that today's word is Internet of Things. And we all need to know that the data is going to be, stolen from the Internet of Things of devices. We are using so many smart devices, even step by step, when we are coming outside to the home or going to the office or returning to the office to home, everywhere, we are feeling insecure because of the Internet of Things. Sometimes we can say that there are pros and there are cons also. So here in the web threat, it is also one of the challenge. In the morning session, Dr. Manju Khari has shown so many things about the Internet of Things and the fraud and the challenges related to Internet of Things. So we also encountered and seen that many of the web threats are possible nowadays with the Internet of Things of devices. So getting in the front door is also a type of web threat where you can see that the web pages which we need to open, and sometimes we want to see something which is really useful for us, but because of another third party who has shown some intelligence to your business and shown some another page or another type of script, that is also a web threat challenge. So getting in the front door means we need to see actually who is entering from the port and coming to the website and looking at the browser. What are the attackers mean by which they are going to enter in our system, and can tell about the web threats. Then yes, nowadays we are talking about many new technologies like AI, blockchain, and we are now talking about the convergence of these technologies at some point. Recently, I have seen many papers on this, that how the blockchain, AI, ML, IoT, and cybersecurity comes together. So these technologies, when they are coming together, of course, they are giving us something which is fruitful. But if you see at the same time, they are also, affecting our thoughts or some processes in between, due to which we are not getting the actual output which is required. So new technology has also come up with the web threats, with the problems. Maybe it is related with the clicking of a new link, or maybe it is related with some services which are here in the internet. So we cannot say that whatever we are looking in the web, everything is safe. Maybe there are some content, some services, or some link which we are going to click. They are not safe, but we are using it because we are thinking, yeah, we are going to use a new technology. It has been already evolved and the process was proper, done, completed. So we need to just check before clicking anything, whether is this okay or not for our purpose. So all these are the web threats which has been seen and played a role in the cyber world. Then what are the major security threats in information system? Like you have seen the database security threats, you have seen the web-based security threats. Now, if we talk about particularly information system, so intrusion or hacking is one of the threat which is affecting our, the information. So how will the hacker will affect it, or they will interrupt in the process? They will use some tools which are very useful for getting the data from the script, and there they can use hidden fields in the HTML forms, let's say, or if they are using any script, whether it has been validated or not, they can check. Then they can use SQL attacks by SQL session hijacking, as I have already shown you. It was also one of the part of the database hacking. So buffer overflow, port scanning. For port scanning, we use Nmap and NetStumbler. There are many tools, right, which are used for this hacking purpose. But yes, at the same time, I must say, these tools are also used for benefits, not only always for, cyber crimes. So it depends, like whether the hacking is legal or illegal. It affects the information system when the intruder is using in an illegal way. So viruses and worms, as we know, it is a type of a program, malicious program, which affects, the information system. And it can be in many ways. And there are many viruses which has been seen: polymorphic virus, stealth virus, tunneling virus, among them few I have mentioned here, that makes the system and program not to work properly. So viruses and worms are the threats, security threats, which affects your information. Then if I talk about Trojan horse, it's very old and very popular. Everybody knows that it affects our system and our things, especially in terms of integrity. There are some attacks which are, specifically, we can say, that affect the authenticity, the integrity, and confidentiality. And sometimes they are come together in the part, or sometimes one is affecting the other. So spoofing is another, the attack, the way of the attack, which affects the ARP poisoning and DNS and IP related issues, right? So whatever is coming in the network, spoofing can be one of the security threat in the information system. Sniffing is another terminology in security threat, which we use for the information. And here, what exactly is there? That there are some commands like TCP, DUMP, and snooping, where the people are, starting the login process, and the hacker will scan the data through the login and password, and they can use it for their purpose. So sniffing means by doing some command, by writing some command of, the ID password, or giving any malicious program or the code offline, can affect the data and your information. Denial of service, as we have already discussed, DDoS or DOS attack. These are, the challenging targeted attacks which are being seen in database network, security network, overall information system, or web-based network. So all these are the security threats which affects our information system in the cybersecurity world. So when we talk about vulnerability, what type of vulnerability you see? Physical vulnerability, natural vulnerabilities, hardware and software vulnerabilities, stolen or damaged disk type of vulnerabilities, communication vulnerabilities, or human vulnerabilities. So vulnerabilities can be of any form when we see that whether it is in the process, in hardware, in software, or it is related to some another form which exists in the system, in the communication, and it affects your system. So here are few examples of information security vulnerabilities through software. Like we know that lack of audit trail and software bugging, designing faults, and to checking the human behavior and their factors, software complexity, its vulnerabilities can persist. Through the network, if we say how it can be used, then what is the physical connections, what is the IP address, how where the port is given, is it open or closed, what are the unwanted excessive privileges or the user IDs which are affecting our network. So through network, we can see the vulnerable things in our system. IT management, if the IT capacity is insufficient, or there is not a process to troubleshoot something, or there are something which is lacking in our process, let's say related to chain management, business process flow, or improper waste disposal, in any ways, like not handling the risk analysis. So IT management can be also one of the cause in the information security vulnerability. Then partner and suppliers. We, most of the time having the faith toward the partners and suppliers from whom we have taken the IP addresses or some sub-networking concepts to deploying in our network. But sometimes the utility or the uses of those suppliers are not up to the mark. And due to lost things, some failure of the software processes or disruption in the services, they affect the system and the whole network. So partners and suppliers can also be, the vulnerability in the system. Then these are, the threats and vulnerabilities associated with the cybersecurity, information security, and web security, which I have discussed. So what we need actually, the security we need as a key feature, which was, initially given by NIST, and it was, properly documented and written, that the main key features to obtain the security will be always CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So when we talk about confidentiality, we know that we have to restrict access to the authorized individuals. And when we talk about the data of integrity, data has not been altered in an unauthorized manner. It should be always same, remain same throughout the process. Availability is that information can be accessed and modified by authorized individuals in any appropriate time frame. So, we are having many algorithms, many security techniques, but the base is confidentiality, integrity, and availability, which is still working together with the authenticity. Now we are talking about, more secure processes, more secure mechanism to protect our cyber world. And these are coming with the form of hashing or some another technique, like we are going to use blockchain, as I have mentioned. So there are many things which can be further used for obtaining the security in the cyber world. So basic will be the remain same, and we will go with the flow. So here I have an example which I would like to share with you all, how the security breaches happen. So before going ahead with that, I would like to know from all the audience here, kindly share how many of you have been ever victim to such causes. Have you ever faced a security breach or not, in maybe day-to-day life or ever in your life? How many of you have faced any type of issue related to security breach? Have you ever faced or not? Yes or no? Have you ever faced any type of security breach in your life? Was it hardware based, software based, process based? So Dr. Shweta is saying no, she has never been victimed not in any ways. Sandeep Mukherjee is saying yes, he has been victimed. Okay. Could you please explain how, in what manner you have victimed? Was it a process based? Was it a technique based, hardware, software based? Sandeep ji? Manoj Pandey is also saying yes. Please, little hint from your side whether you have been victimed by the process, by some technique. Okay, he is saying by the software. Okay, fine. It was from the software. Sandeep is also writing. What is your view, Dr. Abhishek? You are the expert, one of the expert in this area. Have you ever victimed or not?
Well, in my opinion, everybody is a victim of cyber attack these days. I'll like to take some examples. You might have seen, like, we use WhatsApp a lot, and sometimes WhatsApp is not working. I think some months back, we saw WhatsApp was not working for 20 to 30 minutes, right? So it was a classic example of cyber attack wherein the attacker has used DDoS technique, which is very well explained by Kushbu ma'am, that in this kind of specific attack, what we do is we send a lot of packets to the server side, and server is not able to process so much data, and hence not able to respond to the WhatsApp clients, which is being installed in all of your mobiles, and hence you are not able to use that service. So it's an outage in terms of WhatsApp. So this is also a classic example of cyber attack. So I guess we all are being surrounded by some kind of cyber attacks. And moreover, if you want to take a real examples in terms of universities as well, if you browse on Google, you will find every day, even in this month as well, some of the top ranked universities, right? Harvard universities, your USA universities, Manchester universities, they are being down by cyber attacks, and attackers are able to download all the research data from their website and from their servers, and it being an IP for an university, right? And they are being attacked by hackers, and they hack their systems, they hack their data of all the students, all the reports, all the financial data, right? So yes, I mean, we all are surrounded by somehow by the cyber attacks, in my opinion.
Rightly said. So unknowingly or knowingly, we are, victimed of such type of crimes. So sometimes we actually take serious all these concerns, and sometimes not, we avoid, or maybe, purposely we are busy somewhere, we are ignoring it. But yes, if we talk about, in terms of articles, or maybe as a faculty, we are publishing so many papers, and there are many cloned journals. So we can also say that, we are unknowingly affecting from all those things. So we are getting published some papers, and sometimes we are not, aware with those things. So it is like happening in the world. So it is not necessary that everybody knows that we were the victim at that time. So yeah, now I'm going to just show you a clip of an example of security breach. Anytime it may happen with you also, or you can save yourself, like many organizations, Cisco and Microsoft and many others, they are, working on this area, how we can protect our system. So let's start this video. Yeah.
I'm not sure whether we are able to hear the sound of it. Khushbu ma'am, are you able to hear the sound of this video?
Yes. Are you able to hear? Shweta ma'am?
No.
Okay. Let me share the sound. I'm just starting again.
Of content that was irregular and just no one knew why it was.
Now I can hear.
Okay.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, the attack started with a classic phishing email. Now, these phishing emails are very convincing. I wouldn't fault anyone for falling for them. Now, the infected laptop was then taken to the IT department.
Yes, I think we have a problem.
While IT was looking at Jimmy's laptop, your PR department started to get flooded with feedback from customers. Social media channels were posting all kinds of content that was irregular and just no one knew why it was happening. It was at that time that your team discovered you were under a cyber attack.
Okay, this is not good.
And that's when we called you guys in.
Now, the first thing we found out is that all social media passwords were taken from the infected laptop by the hackers.
We just said it would warm up.
What were they after?
We didn't know it at the time, but we took a look at the laptop memory dump and found out which resources were exposed. Now, when you have an attack like this, you need to collaborate across all teams. We set your PR department to handle media and customer communications, and we had IT monitor the hacker's progress on the server. Now, at the same time, we deployed sensors across the domain. We monitor traffic spikes. We analyzed server and firewall data to see what would happen. Now, soon after that, it was clear that the hackers were after your main grid-controlled network. Now, we needed to stop them and do everything we could before they got there.
Everyone, get ready to shut them out.
Ready.
Blocking all command and control domains, disabling implants.
We're compromised.
Destroy everything.
Now, we're able to freeze all compromised accounts and isolate the hackers' access to a single server.
No access to field operations, but the crucial data retrieved. Purging all evidence.
And the damage?
Minimal and contained. Now, we're going to help you set up new passwords for your teams. We're going to handle all communication about the attack with your shareholders and your customers.
Well, that's great.
The hackers will try again, but next time you'll be ready.
Yes. So why I have shared this video to you, so that at least identify the what were the types of damages which happened and what were the compromised situation here in this video. So could you identify what were the types of threat or the vulnerabilities in whole process here in this video? Anyone from the participant? Any type of threat which you have identified? This means you have, I think, understood each and everything. Okay, I'm just letting you know that this video clip was about when the security, breach happens. So everything is being compromised, right? And there can be the web threat. There is a hardware type of damage, the software damages, which I discussed in the previous slides. All those happened here in the video clip. If you have seen, they were just talking about the teams, what type of person should get involved to get rid of from such type of security breaches. They talked about the communication people. They talked about the avoid the hackers from such type of processes, programmers. They have talked about the other type of services and the people, those who were working in this area, to just get rid from all these things. So here Sandeep is writing it was maybe the ransomware type attack. Yeah, because the ransomware is also one of the type of attack which can be seen for getting something from the people for whom data has been compromised. So yeah, it was a process through which we can say that ransomware type of attack was happened in the mean of the hardware and software compromises. What is written internet inside car in some of new car? Mishra sir is asking. What is written internet inside car in some of new car? Okay, so yes, definitely. If want to check that what type of intruder wants to gather the data, they will look for your perspective, and they will also try to catch the thing what actually they want.
Actually, sir is asking like why on some of the cars it is written internet inside at the back of the car. Like in MG Hector, you will find that it is there in the back. So he is asking why it is written.
So the attacker's point of view, if you see, we never know that what they want to hack. So it is one of the way to hack. This is an example that how the process being held in the security breach, and whatever the term, whether it is related to image or text, as ma'am has said and the sir has said, it can be compromised by the stealing process. So it is like one of the example where we just wanted to show that what is the process and what are the teams which should work to protect the data from all these processes. So yes. What are the modern threats and technologies? These will be covered by Dr. Abhishek. I just wanted to show you one more thing, which is here. That is, what are the cybersecurity domains? If anyone is working in the cybersecurity domain area, what are the different, dimensions, hierarchies where one can think of to making the career or to think of to help the society in this area? So if we see here that the cybersecurity domains are having different dimensions. One is the framework and standard. Starting from any regulatory or the guidelines, we always look for the framework and the standards. So as I have already taken the name of NIST, ISO, SANS, they have given many regulatory guidelines for the cybersecurity and compliances. So it is one of the area the people can work to making the standard more better in near future. Then you can also develop your career in the field by doing some training, by doing some certification, or by conducting some conferences, awareness among the people, by talking in the peer groups or doing self-study as we are doing, and getting some responses by after completion of all these things to in making a career and to understand the better concept of the cybersecurity. Then we can also think about the security operation, which is really challenging in this area. When we talk about the security operations, as I have already demonstrated in the previous slides, one must look from the basic to the advanced level of the attacks, threats, vulnerabilities, and the processes and mechanism also, which are being involved, in helping or preventing the processes of secure. So here we can see that the detection, protection, prevention, and recovery from those things are required in the security operations. Other than this, vulnerability management, data leakage, active defense, and breach notification and some investigations, which are really important for the security operations, can also be taken. So all these parts, like we see here, one is the framework and standard, another one is career development, another one is security operations. Next is threat intelligence, the intelligence bureau, and the many companies which are really working on the threat intelligence part, they are looking whether the threats are external or internal. So based on the part which they have categorized and they wanted to work in this area, they are just dividing the domains in the external, internal part, and then they are going into the deeper of that text. So external is related with some agencies and the part where you can do some exercise by using some tools, by audit, by documentation, and internal can also be used, by sharing some views and contextual type of things. If we talk about the other domains, another one is security engineering, right? So security and engineering, as we are producing many engineers and we are introducing many new subjects related to the security domains, we also look for such type of concepts which are written here, like one of them which we are also teaching. I am teaching cryptography and network security, the basic concept from where the security starts, and secure application development, system integration, security architecture, although there are many security architecture, as ma'am has also told in the morning session, but still there are some research which is going on to explore more, the stable security architecture are being, identified and investigated, and they are also working in this area. Then when we talk about the security engineering point of view, one must look for the data protection, one must look for the cloud security. So cloud is like the latest, area where cloud security mechanism can be seen, and it is being involved day-to-day life, and we are looking for identifying some mechanism which will be helpful for cloud. After COVID-19, it has increased a lot because the research, if you will see the data, the statistics which are being used in the cloud security part, it is increasing day by day. So for security engineering aspect, one must look for the subdomains which are mentioned here in the slide: access control, identity management by some management processes of privileged access or identity and access. Then you can also talk about, the many companies which are working on the audit purpose, making their policies, guidelines, compliances, like every organization is, hiring the security analyst, the security administrator, security invigilator. So what are they doing? They are just, trying to find out with some authentic tools and by analyzing some processes which are happening in the network throughput or by any means, to getting the better compliance or better regulations to strengthen the security in this area. So government is also doing lots of effort in this area, and we can see lots of crime in different application areas, not only, in the banking or e-commerce, in healthcare. And we have seen many statistics in COVID-19, also during COVID-19, when there were, many security breaches happened. The fake data was, launched, and everybody was working for the research on those data. So after that, when the fake data was launched, the government has decided some policies, and they have regulated new guidelines who can, go with what data. So data is very important when you are working with the cybersecurity domain or the process, or you are working with the compliance part and you are doing some auditing related to that data. Management is also one of the, different area in this cybersecurity domain, where we need the person to just, manage the whole IT world, the cyber world, and giving the inputs and getting, getting rid of the risk analysis and different types of unwanted type of fake things. So management involvement is too much in the government part, and from private organization also. Worldwide, we are using the compliances and management issues. Then if you talk about, the risk assessment, many dimensions are open: vulnerability scan, third party risk, not only the third party, fourth party, or many others which are involved in this process. Then you can also talk about, white box, black box, which is what type of testing it is, what type of codes can be generated, how you can get rid from that, what are the risks related to this, and how the data center will, help you in getting the data and get rid from those data. So infrastructure is important, framework is important, security engineering is important. And if you see, the security operations are important. So all these are, the areas where one can go ahead with the challenges and find out the problems and can work on those areas and can explore more related to the cybersecurity. With these words, I would like to stop here and hand over to Dr. Abhishek for his expert talk. Over to Dr. Abhishek.
Thanks, Khushbu ma'am. Well,
Dr. Abhishek, there is just one request. You'll have to hurry up and complete your session, because we have to deal with the valedictory in this session itself.
okay, so what is the time frame we are looking for, by the way?
Try to complete it in 15 minutes.
Okay, 15 minutes is pretty okay. Let me try. Let me share my screen. Just give me a second. Well, on this slide, I think Khushbu ma'am has articulated very well that look here, cybersecurity is the hottest domain, I would say, in terms of teaching as well. And I can see some of the universities in Australia and some of the universities in US that they are opening, although they have this separate cyber department, but they are expanding like anything. Because you can see on this slide, Khushbu ma'am has covered a lot of areas, and each area is independent of other areas. So this is something which is a food of thoughts for teachers to think and upskill if somebody wants to pursue their teaching career in cybersecurity. Let me try to share my screen. Just give me a second. So is my screen visible to all?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Is it visible now?
It's coming. Yeah, now it's visible.
Okay, just give me a second. Yes, I saw one of the questions also, that what are the various tools for the compliances. So I assume that question was more towards from the cell phone perspective. So we have a lot of endpoint compliance agents. You can and as usual, they are paid agents, like from a lot of vendors, like you can check it out from Cisco, from there are a lot of antivirus ads also you might receive as messages or as advertisements, right? So you can download any one of them, and what they will do is they will scan your systems and look for some kind of non-compliance in your mobile phones, and then tell you that these are the applications which might be harmful to your endpoints, to your laptop or to your mobile stations, right?
Can
And
you
then
answer, can you add something, Dr. Abhishek, in this question for giving the answer? What are the tools for checking security compliances by Dr.
Right.
Sarita? So I just wanted to tell that I have already, told in my lecture that there are many tools like which are being used for audit purpose and for, analyzing the traffics which are flowing in the network, like Nmap, Stambler, or you can check, the Metasploits, and many more are there, like which can be used for the security compliances and checking the behavior of the traffics which are coming in the network. I hope you got the answer. And as Dr. Abhishek is saying that there are many others companies oriented, the reserved licensed softwares are there which can be used for compliance purpose. Cisco, Accenture has its own, Deloitte has its own, and every organization is making its own tool also. They are using their own software for this purpose. I hope you have got the answer, Sarita. Yeah, please, Dr. Abhishek.
Thanks, Khushbu ma'am. So yes, this slide is also covering some of the tools which are being used worldwide to stop the attacks or to stop the, as you can see on your screen, there are various categories which are being mentioned here. Like, for example, these are the attacks, DDoS kind of attacks, advanced malwares, your ransomware frauds, data thefts, targeted attacks, right? So for all these things, these are the technologies which we have right now. So we have IPS IDS. So IPS stands for your intrusion prevention systems. There are various IPS IDS there, right? There are firewalls which acts as a gate to enter into your network, right? And there are some DLP, data loss prevention tools and technologies are there to prevent your end systems. There are some next systems which are always when you are, let's say you are coming to your university and you want to plug in your laptop, so it will check whether this is an authorized laptop you can plug in into your network or not. There are anti-spam features available into your email security solution which checks for your attacks, like there is some unwanted or a malicious link should not be there in your email body, right? And there are email security web gateways. So these are the technologies with which we can stop cyber attacks, right? And then ultimately, as Khushbu ma'am mentioned in one of the slides, that the end objective is to prevent the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the data. But still, there are a lot of technologies, still there are a lot of features or a lot of development or a lot of research work is happening. Still, every day, a lot of attacks are happening. So I represented this gap as the security gap, and now digital transformation or everything is happening to fill this gap in some way. Now, as Khushbu ma'am mentioned that look here, we have a lot of challenges also in cybersecurity. So I have just listed down what are the top challenges I can see these days. Like, for example, everybody is in IT industry is working from home. So when you work from home, definitely you are using your company's or your university's resources by sitting at home and at your local laptop. So this is one of the key challenges wherein somebody is not aware and taking a remote VPN from their houses and then resulting in, let's say suppose you have malware in your laptop and you connect to your university network or to your campuses or to your corporate network, unwillingly you transferred your viruses, malwares, bots to your company's network or university network, resulting in attacks. And this is that is why nowadays industry is moving towards the zero trust framework or SASE model, wherein they want their all the users whom are accessing their network should be secure in nature. And then there are a lot of for example, if I have to quote some vendor like Zscaler is one of the key leading service provider, which comes with your remote VPN solution, I would say your WAN solutions or your and then on top of it, there are a lot of identity management solutions. So what do you mean by identity management solution is whenever you are logging into any system, it asks for your username and password, right? So Basically, this is nothing but the way you are authenticating yourself. So uh, there are a lot of different domains, I would say, in identity and access management is there. For example, multi-factor authentication, wherein you get multiple layers of password. You enter your password and then you get an OTP to your cell phone or to your email ID, right? So this is one way of having multi-factor authentication. And then endpoint compliance is, as mentioned by Dr. Sarita, that look, what are the various tools for endpoint compliances, and it is very much required. We generally ignore this stuff while operating our laptops or operating from your IoT device, like your even your mobile phone as well. So this is very much necessary nowadays. And there are a lot of third party tools also which are coming nowadays, saying they are imparting securities, and then we purchase those tools. In fact, organizations or university levels also purchases these third party tools. Like, for example, we are using Zoom as a way of conveying this FDP program. So if any vulnerability or anything is there with this application or this client server model application, definitely attacker can come into and hack all the data in between, and perform whatever he or she wants to do. Now, what do you mean by digital transformation? So everybody nowadays, if you talk to any CTOs, chief technology officers, or CISOs, everybody, rather it's an Indian company or MNCs, they are talking of digital transformation, and there are need of digital transformation architects, increasing day by day. So I'm one of them, and I have seen a lot of digital transformations in last 5-6 years. In fact, after pandemic, everybody wants to have a setup wherein they want to adopt new technologies. They want to adopt a framework wherein end objective is to increase the end user experience. So if I am using all the applications in one go from my home or from remote places, all the digital technologies are fundamentally increasing your user experience. So digital transformation is nothing but your fundamentally it change how your business operates, how you deliver value to the customers, how you interact with the different stakeholders. And if I have to talk about the key elements of digital transformation, so one of the important aspect is definitely the technology integration. I have seen with my experience that multiple companies have multiple departments, and definitely they invest heavily in different technologies, but ultimately those technologies are working on silos. For example, if I in identity and access management space, I saw that many organizations have purchases 10 or 15 different tools for different purposes. Like, for example, they have token management, they have two-factor authentication, they have PAM solution, they have manual process for JML. So what do you mean by JML is, let's say, for example, a new employee or a new teacher is being onboarded to your university. So IT will create a credentials for that user. And then, sometimes when that user left the organization or left the universities, still that user exists in the system, and IT forget to delete that user. So all these things are manual, and definitely manual things always leads to errors, right? So all those technologies are working in silos. So there is a need of, and that's the reason artificial intelligence is like helping a lot of technologies to integrate themselves and to make a integrated view of all the posture of their technologies. And then customer centricity, definitely is business having enhancing the end user experience, and placing their customers at the core of the business operations is something which definitely is a key element of digital transformations. So it is being very well explained on this slide, that other things, so I'm not taking that. So let's move to next. Just to if I have to deliver the key message on this slide, is I want to depict that, look, the cybersecurity market is growing like anything. If you see that 5 to 6 years back, I'll just take examples of universities as well. They're not ready to pay, or they're not ready to buy the latest technologies, saying that it's a budget problem for them. And if I see in the last 1.5 or 2 years, right? So universities, the 70% or 80% of the budget which they approve for their IT is nothing but your cyber investment on the cyber securities technologies as well. So Earlier, companies are only concerned about their network security. For example, they have their IT room, they have their data centers, they have people, one or two IT admins, are delivering whole program. But nowadays, if you see, in Harvard University, I saw their team of 100 plus people whom are delivering their SOC or their identity or their whole cybersecurity program. So the key message is that, look, global cybersecurity market is investment is increasing day by day. Now, what are the key digital transformation technologies? And what I mean by that is, like, for example, if it's not a tool that you install and okay, you can say, oh, I have transformed my digital infrastructure, I have transformed my whole IT landscape. It's a framework, and all the companies or all the organizations may pick few of them, may pick all of them. It all depends on their mindset, it all depends on their chief technology officers as well, right? So one of the key strategy is to assess their current security posture. What do you mean by that is, let's say, I am having say 10 technologies in my environment and I want to know that how they are performing right now. So before even moving further, I should at least assess what are my security controls which are being implemented in my system. And nowadays, companies like Big Four, KPMG, PwC, they are the known experts in this area, and they come and do the assessment of your current security postures and generate the reports that, look, these are the controls you have implemented and these are the gaps in your environment, and then you need to look and you need to evaluate the effectiveness of all the security controls, policies and practice, right? And then second thing, the most important aspect is cybersecurity objective always depends on the industry type. For example, if I am from the banking domain, I run a bank, so my cybersecurity objective, business objectives will be different. And if, let's say, I am from healthcare sector, I am running a hospital, so if I am the CEO of that hospital, so my business objective is pretty different from the banking solution. Same goes with, for example, if you go into Middle East and Dubai, like areas, right, they people have oil refineries, they have oil and gas, so they have the major industries in energy, oil and gas, so they have the different business objectives, cyber security or objectives. So whenever any CTO and is doing the investment in terms of digital transformation, and they want to align their digital transformation and bake cyber security into it, right? So they have to understand what are the business objective they want to achieve, and then they can align their cyber security with their business objective. And based on these two assessment parts, right, somebody can definitely develop a cybersecurity roadmap. Look, these are the things down the line after 1 year, after 2 year. I've just given example. I have done an assessment. Let's say I am at, like, I have a framework and I have a benchmark that today I am at maturity level 1, and after 3 years I want to reach a maturity level of 2.5. So if I have to do that, I have to create a detailed cybersecurity roadmap as well. I need to prioritize my security projects based on the risk assessment, regulatory compliances. Now, regulatory compliances is also a very buzzword now these days. Indian government agencies are also, stating all the organizations that, for example, ISO 27001 is, it is a mandate for all the government offices, and nowadays they are also adopting a lot of other frameworks as well in India as well. And GDPR is one of the key regulatory compliance in European countries as well. Similarly, I have touched upon your identity and access management part as well, wherein, this is, as Madam mentioned, that one of the key, vulnerability, or one of the key area is the privilege access, and the low user take the access of high users and then do the damage. So this is also one of the key concern or key strategies. Like whenever you are planning your identity and access management program, right, you have to think from all angles. You have to implement multi-factor authentication, you have to implement privilege access management. But whoever is the administrator of all the devices, their session should be recorded by your privilege management access system. And last but not the least, you have to have a SOC team, you have to have all the logs whenever, I just give a classic example here is, let's say suppose, my user ID, I'm logging into into the company system by some username and password, and I'm working from 9 to 6. Let's say some abnormal activities there, in the night or in the time wherein, holidays there. So those kind of activities should be logged to your central threat detection or threat incident response system, and it will be done in terms of logs and capturing and generating an alert for your SOC team. So nowadays every university have their SOC operating center. We call it as security operations center or network operating center. There are teams or analysts which are sitting 24/7 monitoring your network and doing and you're watching all the alerts, and based on the alerts they are taking action and make sure that it will not do any further damage. Similarly, these are also like audit should be there. You should as security partners, madam mentioned that security partners is also one of the key thing in vulnerabilities, wherein internal partners whom are not happy or whom have a lot of other issues, and they also are the key things you should collaborate with. Make sure that whatever IT policy you are following, your vendors are also should be following that, right? And then digital transformation, I would say it's a continuous effort. We can't say that, look, this is a framework you need to implement and this is done. You need to have a 6 months of efforts or 1 year of efforts. It's a continuous effort, right? It's not a one-time effort. It's an ongoing process. So these are the digital transformation, I would say, strategies, although I'm not touching some of the examples looking at the time frame. Now I also want to touch upon cyber forensics and why, because this is the most important, I would say, branch of cybersecurity, which is talking about your attacks and how to make sure that how to, let's say suppose some damage is done, some session has been hijacked or some bank has been hijacked, right? So how do we, what are the further steps one can do? And it's a very important, I would say, a domain or teaching domain of cybersecurity. Nowadays there are separate departments also, separate labs also being configured within the universities, within the university campuses or within organizations. So I in one of the previous roles prior to my current company, I played the role of chief cybersecurity investigation officer and got a chance to investigate some of the key hacks within India. So I will not go on in the some of the definitions. So this is the framework, like what we generally follows. Like for example, if some hacking is done, some kind of security breach has happened. So these are this is the standard framework which we follow. Like it start with your preparation, information gathering, like how do we gather the evidences, and hashing is one of the key term which is being used to prove the evidence is authentic while hearing in any court, cyber court or something like that, right? So then collection of evidences, how do we collect the evidences, what are the tools being used to hack the data? So all these things we do, and then we preserve those all the evidences, like we are talking of cybercrime here. Even in general crime as well, we do all this same stuff, like we preserve the evidences, we present this in front of court, we prove that whoever is guilty and all, right? And then comes with the examination, wherein there are a lot of tools available in the market or available with the cyber forensic investigation officers to examine the data, how what is the chain of events, how the attack has happened, and who has done it, and what damage it has been done, and so on. Similarly, based on all these steps, somebody can, investigation officer can do the analysis and followed by investigations. So in investigations, majorly, somebody will reconstruct the attack, that how, when, who, where, how the attack has happened, how the validation of the suspicious activity, the identify the root cause, like how it will happen, why it will happen, and then conclude the investigation. So by concluding the investigation, we need to generate a report and submit it to the court or submit it to the partner, that look, this is the detailed report covering all the aspects of this cyber crime, and this is how a cyber case is always being presented to the court. So with this, I will cover, in the last, I will cover a case study. It's a pretty useful case study for all of you, and it was with the bank in Bombay, wherein I went to that bank and somebody has done a transaction of it was an international transaction of more than 10 crores, right? And then the bank has called us, and I was the chief investigation officer for that investigation. So it was a government bank. I'll not take the name here. So when we went, we saw that we do the detailed investigation, that how exactly it has happened, who has done it, how it is being done, right? So international transactions generally done by the Swift server. So if you can see my screen, this I have pointed out that word Swift. So Swift server is the server wherein all the international transactions happen. Now when we conduct the whole investigation, it went for almost a month investigation for me. And then what we found is that somebody has sent some phishing email to some of the bank employee. It's a phishing email talking about the Amazon discounts, and then the validity of that discount is only 1 day. So that employee has incidentally clicked that link, and that malware is installed on his or her personal machine. And after installing the malware, what we found is that malware generally being spread to all the laptops or all the desktops within the bank. And now everybody is running that malware in their laptops or desktops. And eventually what happens is that malware got access to the Swift server. Now on that Swift server, what was done is somebody has left the bank, and then that malware knows that these are the user IDs which are not being used in the last 6 months, and then that hacker has used one of the ID and gave the privilege to it, and then by use of that ID, that fraud transactions has been done and validated by that ID. So in Swift server,
Sorry to interrupt, Dr. Abhishek. We can, we are running out of time, so I think we can wind up by just giving brief idea about the case study. Later we can explain, or they can contact us for the further case study.
Sure. We are concluding it. So I was just talking at the last of that, how that whole investigation concluded is that Swift server being used, and that unused ID is being privileged to use that Swift server, and then eventually the transactions of that which was not authorized is being done, and this is how the whole hacking happened. So I will take a pause here, although we have a time constant, but I can take a couple of questions if it is necessary.
Dr. Abhishek, there is one question from my side. Can cybercrime be reported anonymously?
Sorry, can you say it again?
Can cybercrime be reported anonymously?
Yes, it can. You, even in India, we have a separate division now. You can report. There are numbers also being displayed to the public. You can call them and report. Even everything.
Without telling my name, like can I report it?
No. What do you?
Yes, I just wanted to add one more thing, Dr. Abhishek. We can report, but in some specific cases where, like some child abusement, harassment, or sexual related, the things are there. But in particular, we cannot, quote by the name of the person who wanted to report. But yeah, anonymously we can do for some specific type of things, for specific crimes which are, not publicly we can speaking way, in a public speaking way. I hope you got the answer, ma'am.
Yes. So there is another question. Can we quantify the quality of cybersecurity in a digital setup? This is from Dr. Mishra.
So we can define the maturity level of the controls. So the quantification can only be done in that aspect. For example, this security control, if I have to rate it from 5, it is currently at 3.2 or something. So this is how the quantification is being done, and it is not related to the overall program. It is related to some specific group of technologies.
So I think this is all from the question answer session. So we can move forward. So thank you so much for your splendid talk on cyber crimes and cyber forensics. And I'm sure your views on cybersecurity and digital marketization will be useful for industry and research purpose. And your deliberation of several threats will surely guide our participants to be aware of the cyber frauds happening in daily life and take care of it. So once again, thank you, ma'am and sir.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Thank
a
you,
lot.
Dr. Abhishek. Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
So with this, we come to the end of our technical sessions, and we will now proceed for the valedictory session in 2 minutes. So please stay connected.
Puneet ji,
Yes, ma'am.
give access to turn on the camera once again. Sorry for interruption, everyone.
Given, ma'am.
Yes.
Actually, there was some issue with the Parker. We are back now. So now I'll move on to the valedictory.
Ma'am, host has disabled the camera. We cannot on our camera. It is showing like this.
Puneet sir, kindly allow all the participants to switch on their camera.
Ma'am, I have given already the rights.
Participants, please try once again.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, Said sir.
Thank
Yeah.
you, ma'am. This is nice FDP.
Sir, we are just starting in 2 minutes. But yes, of course, if you want to share your views, please welcome.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving this opportunity. And I am very thankful to the whole team of the MET Gurugram, Haryana. And I listen all the talks and the very good lecture by the Manju Khari ma'am and the cyber security by the Dr. Khushbu Tripathi ma'am and the very good organizers. So I am very thankful to that. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Syed, being here and connecting with us. Thank you so much for your compliments.
So 4 days back, we embarked on this journey with open minds, eager to refresh our knowledge and gain new insights. And in these days together, we have accomplished just that and so much more. So your enthusiasm has made this journey of learn, unlearn, and relearn memorable. I take this opportunity to share a brief note of the sessions that we heard in these 5 days. The 5-day FDP on recent advancements, innovation, future trends in emerging technology and their impact on higher education. So on 17th of July, the first day of this FDP, and during the inaugural session, Vice Chancellor Professor P.V. Sharma blessed the gathering and shared his words of wisdom about the technological advancements and how it is influencing us, the human. Pro Vice Chancellor Professor Madhukar embraced the gathering with his motivational words and highlighted the necessity of continuous learning. Dr. Amarendra Pani, Joint Director of AIU, talked about the importance of learn, unlearn, and relearn for teachers. The guest of honor, Professor Kushal Singh from IIT Delhi, talked about the impact of technology on higher education and its growth. He emphasized the need for teachers to be abreast of technology. Dr. Ravi Datta from Amity University highlighted the application and advantages of AI in healthcare. Day 2 of the FDP witnessed a hands-on session and the speaker, Dr. Manu Madhukar from IBM India, made the session engaging and demonstrated auto AI for model building and deployment. On the same day, Dr. Richa Singh from Birla Institute of Technology, Mesra, deliberated on an information filtering approach. She discussed the general model of recommendation system and their evaluation metric. Dr. Ranjana Arora from Amity University presented the application and importance of multi-objective optimization in engineering and technology. Day 3 of the FDP witnessed vibrant exchange of ideas and insightful presentations on data science in digital era, robotic process automation, and voice-enabled communication by speakers Dr. Alok Srivastava from LV Prasad Eye Institute, Hyderabad, and Dr. Sunil Setka, Dr. Shweta, and Mr. Akshat Agrawal from Amity University, Haryana. On the 4th day, TEDx speaker Dr. Amit Dua from BITS Pilani presented the aspects of stable coins and blockchain. Dr. Anuj Kumar Singh from Adani University talked about cybersecurity and blockchain integration. Then on the same day, Dr. Amit Tyagi from NEFT Delhi flawlessly talked about the current trends in blockchain and the application areas where blockchain finds its place in present time. Today, the 5th day of the FDP focused on security. and Professor Manju Khari from JNU discussed about security in Internet of Things. And in the last session, Dr. Khushbu Tripathi from Amity University and Dr. Abhishek Jain from Wipro Technologies discussed cybersecurity and ways to handle frauds and cyber crimes prevalent in the society. To conclude, we can say that it was an amazing and informative event for faculties and research scholars. Now, before proceeding for the formal vote of thanks, we would request the participants to share their feedback about the event. You can unmute yourself and say a few words.
I request Major General J.S. Dhul, sir, Director Defense Technology. Please say a few words, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are clearly audible.
Yeah. I must compliment both of you for doing a fabulous job. It's a great initiative by Dr. Shalini Bhaskar Bajaj and the entire team. You've done a fabulous job of stitching it together and presenting it in a commendable manner. All the speakers, they deserve commendation. In fact, you touched the right topics, and the aspects of blockchain, AI, and cybersecurity, they are affecting everyone. And in future also, they are going to be more and more important. So the more we learn of it, we realize how ignorant we are. And day by day, the things are changing so fast. It's difficult to keep pace with it without this FDP setup, right? So this is a great initiative, and I'm fortunate that I was part of it, and I also learned a lot. Thank you so much, and kudos to all of you once again.
Thank you, sir, for your motivational words.
Thank you so much, sir. I would like to request other participants also, please unmute and say a few words, give your feedback to all of us, so that in near
Hello, am I
future we can
audible
improve.
to?
Yes.
Hello, Dr. Khushbu, am I audible to you?
Can you hear me, Dr. Johi?
Yes, am I audible to you right now?
Yes, please, ma'am.
Okay, I would like to thank you, Dr. Khushbu and Dr. Shweta, for sending this registration form and giving us opportunity, because the current trend is very much required as per the ICT is initiating this ANEP and all. So all the the topic which were covered in this FDP was very much relevant, and this is an on-demand topic, especially the security, cyber security, and giving the priority the blockchain is required. So I like these two sessions very much. Thanks for the giving me the opportunity, and I'm very grateful to be part of this FDP. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Johi. And I hope in near future we'll stay connected and we'll do more collaboration.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to say? Dr. Shipra? Dr. Poonam wants to say
Something, she's muted. Please unmute yourself, ma'am. Poonam, ma'am, you are muted.
Oh, sorry. So thank you, Dr. Khushbu, for giving us the opportunity to be.
Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am. Thank you. I think there is some problem.
I have unmuted also. Now my voice is audible? Okay.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. And all the sessions are and eye-opening.
We can't hear you, ma'am. There is some issue. Dr. Rajesh Tyagi, would you like to share something?
Yes, ma'am, it was very good. And the topic was, well demanded. And all sessions were very informative and speakers are good. And all team has done good job. I really appreciate and clap for that. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Dr. Sarita, you were the most active participant throughout the FDP, what we can see in the chat. Would you like to share something?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to congratulate Shweta ma'am and Khushbu ma'am. I learned a lot in this FDP, and congratulations to you and ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
I must say that Dr. Sarita was active throughout the session in asking the questions and attending the sessions. Thank you so much, Dr. Sarita. Mr. Sandeep Mukherjee, would you like to share your views regarding FDP?
Yes, ma'am.
Sandeep, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yes,
Please.
ma'am. All the experts were very nice, and the topic was very relevant to my area also. I am also related. I have a research work on ad hoc network only and cybersecurity only. So it was very nice and informative session from your side. All the experts were very nice, and especially your session was very good.
Thank you.
Congratulate all the team members. I would like to have such FDP in future also. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Could you please share where are you right now?
Yes, I am in the United College of Engineering and Research in Prayagraj only as an assistant professor. So I'm looking forward for more FDP from your side.
Nice to see you here in virtual platform, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Supreet, would you like to share something? You can unmute yourself.
We can see lots of messages are here in the chat box. Those who are not able to speak, I guess. Or it was just because of the interruption of light that we were not connected during the validatory session sometimes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Shashikant ji. Thank you, Shipra Arora ma'am. In feedback, if we are getting Shweta ma'am in the chat box. Everyone has learned a lot. Informative sessions were there. Yeah, Dr. Shubhra ma'am is saying thank you. It was a nice session. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you all. So now I proceed for the formal vote of thanks. Now, feeling thankful and not expressing it is like wrapping a gift and not giving it. So it is a privilege and a great joy for me to extend a vote of thanks for this faculty development program. I, on behalf of Amity Fraternity, spread my profound gratitude to our speakers who gave their vital time from their busy schedule. My sincere thanks to our guest of honor, Professor Kushal Singh, for adorning this event and sharing with us his graceful opinion. Respected speakers, my deep and sincere gratitude to all of you for accepting our invitation and taking time out. I would like to express my sincere thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. P.V. Sharma, and Pro Vice Chancellor, Dr. Vikas Madhukar, for sparing their valuable time to address the gathering and give us the opportunity to organize this event. I also take this opportunity to extend my gratitude to all the learned faculty members and distinguished participants for their enthusiastic involvement. I would like to express a sense of obligation and acknowledgement and acknowledge the unwavering support and guidance received from Director ESSET, Professor Shalini Bhaskar Bajaj and Professor Sanjana Vij, Deputy Director, Academic Staff College of Amity University, Haryana in organizing this event. Our hearty thanks to the IT team for providing all their necessary web support and IT support. Thank you all for your participation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us. And
Just share the feedback link in the chat. It is mandatory for all of you to fill it. Hello, Dr. Ashimas.
Dr. Priyanka, Dr. Anil Kumar Mishra, sir, would you like to share a few words with us?
It was quite informative, ma'am. Nice speakers were invited and we gained a lot of knowledge. Thank you for organizing, and we are looking forward for such FCPs further as well.
Thank you so much. To stay connected. Dr. Mishra.
Yes, ma'am. All the sessions were very good, and we learned a lot. And of course, it will help me in my area. I learned a lot in the cybersecurity area and in the area of IoT, and it was very good sessions. All the sessions were very good, useful. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir.
So the feedback link has been shared. Request you all to fill it.